What is good, Counter-Strike fans? Welcome back to my 22nd episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today, we're finally at Stage 3 of the Blast Austin Major. Um, it's been an interesting major. Now we're in Stage 3. Falcons bombed out in Stage 2. That was interesting. Nico and Muncie, that was on them, honestly. They were really poor in their whole event. It's just even Nico himself is just I know he's getting a lot of flack online, but ever since Monty has come into the team, his form has gone down. I don't even think he's gonna be a top 20 player this year. Just looking at his HLTV ratings and just general gameplay is just not up to the standard that someone like Nico should be at. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's take a look at how I did in Stage 2. And so in Stage 2, I decided to go with this team. Double Furia with Yuri and Kisarado. Double OG with Krisen and Spook. And then Tanier from Heroic as my single goal player. And we actually did quite well. Top 31% for having OG, who I believe, they bombed out. I think they bombed out 0-3. That's not too bad. I'm really happy with my Furia picks. If I would have gotten Jakindar, it'd probably been better value than Yuri. But it is what it is. And then Tanier, he wasn't too great. Just individually, he was good, but they weren't able to get past to the next stage as Heroic. I believe lost to, Tyloo, yeah. Well, they didn't lose to Tyloo. I think they lost to Nevinga, yeah. Let's take a look at the best value for money for this stage, however. And if you had AP and Legacy who went 3-0, it was just crazy how both those teams were able to get 3-0. Like, if you were before this stage, if you went 0-3 BP and Legacy, you'd be probably one of the more popular picks, and they just proved everyone wrong and decided to mess everyone's Pickems up. But it is what it is. Also Jakinder as the single Furia player up there. But yeah, we'll talk about some Pickems real quickly. If you are still in it and you're still going for a diamond coin, I respect you, and I think your choices might have been interesting from the previous stage. A lot of non-favorite teams went through the previous stage. You had Limbition, Legacy, Nevinga, BP. These are teams that were put 0-3, and then all of a sudden they're in stage 3. So let's take a look at the most popular picks by some of the people in the CS community, and only Ash is the only one left that could get a diamond coin. So if you want to follow him, go right ahead. I think he's been pretty good with his analysis. You can see on 3-0 is basically vitality, a lot of vitality, a lot of mouths with some spirit thrown in there. For 0-3, we see a lot of Mbinga, a lot of Limbition, and then a couple Legacy in there. And then for the 3-1, 3-2s, a lot of Aurora, a lot of Phase, alongside with Vitality, Mouse, Spirit. So I would say those are definitely some of the favorites for this stage. For Ash, I watched this video. He went with Navi 3-0 because he's not sure about Navi making it. But if they were to make it, that'd be his 3-0 pick, because I think he's just basically throwing one of the 3-0 picks to have a better 3-1, 3-2 picks in there. He was pretty sure on Vitality, however, with the 3-0, and then I think he was pretty sure on Limbition and then Nevinga as well. So that's just a summary on that. Now, if you want to hear my picks, I think Vitality had to go 3-0. I think that's a solid pick right there. And then most likely what's going to happen is that Mouse and Spirit will probably face each other in a 2-0 advancing stage. So you could pick one or the other for the 3-0, or you can just pick both of them in advance and at least get one correct. Because if you were to pick wrong here with the 3-0 and the 3-1, you probably have two picks wrong. If you decided to hedge and you can just put both of them in advance, you probably get at least one correct out of these two. However, I don't play like that. I'm just gonna go with Spirit. I like Spirit going into this tournament a little bit more. I have a good feeling that after Astana, they probably have been boot camping and grinding like crazy in order to come into the major at their peak. As well as Mouse in advancing. I also see Mongols advancing. I think they're group stage merchants. I think they'll be fine here. For the 0-3, I think I'm gonna have Legacy and probably Navinga 0-3. It's between 3 teams. I think Virtus Pro has shown us that they can win BO1s just with their raw firepower. And Pain, I do like the roster. I think they could probably win one BO1 along the way, or even if they get into a BO3, they have enough in the roster to at least win one game. So for the 0-3, it's basically Lin, Bishan, Legacy, and Naminga. I'm gonna go with Legacy and Naminga because I kind of believe in Lin Bishan's teamwork and how they play, but it could be either or between these 3 teams. For advancing, I think you gotta have Aurora. They've been too consistent this year, and I think the group stage kind of like benefits them, especially BO1s. They have a lot of firepower and they play a very group style CS, so they can win out some maps, and that's all they need for BO1s just to get a good start, get into a 2-0, 2-1 head start, and they could probably win out at least one of their BO3s. After that, it's a little bit more iffy. I want to believe in FaZe, so I'm gonna go with FaZe. I think, the story keeps going, having Simple. Hopefully they can make it to the playoffs so we can see Simple on stage again. Teams that I'm not gonna go for, I'm not gonna go with Pain, I'm not gonna go with Ambition or Virtus Pro, and I'm not gonna go with G2, especially not G2. I think if you were to go G2, I'd honestly be surprised. They just, ever since Monaste's left, it just hasn't been the same. Hades just cannot match the output that he was giving to G2, and that gives like a domino effect where Miles just hasn't been performing well. If Miles not carrying, and then Heavy God's not, getting two while anchoring a site, then it's just not gonna happen for them. Two spots. Honestly, I think I'm gonna have Liquid. I think I'm gonna have Furia. It's between Liquid, Furia, and Navi. I don't know, just not getting good vibes from Navi. I think this format also is kind of plays against them for Navi. They're a team that's better prepared to, they like to prepare a little bit more and strat against opponents rather than using their own strat book and then using their own firepower against teams. I mean, I know that Navi should make it, and I think they probably will over one of Liquid Furia, but I'm just gonna go with Liquid and Furia. I just have this vibe that an NA team and a South American team will make it to the playoffs. So I'm gonna save this. I think that's gonna be my choice. I think Navi's not gonna make it. I think that's gonna be controversial, but that's just how I feel about this Navi roster currently and how their form has been. So now finally we can talk about fantasy. And just note that this game will deliver 50% higher season points. So this one and probably the playoffs will count for a lot more. So if you're still in the league or you're still trying to fight for those top 10 places, you can still make it. So the most picked players, we have Apex getting about low 40%, like he's close to, actually no, he might be at like high 30s. Yeah, high 30%, high 30%. After that, kind of a massive drop off. You have Messi and Robs as well from Vitality. Brolin and Jimham from Mouse, FaZe from Simple from FaZe, and then Techno from Mongols, and then Donk as well. Kind of interested in Donk at that pick percentage. He's only getting chosen about 1/6% of the time. So what is that, like 13%? That's not too high for him. So I'm kind of interested in that. Now we can talk about the players, and we're gonna start off with Vitality. I think with Vitality, I think Sidewoo's a no-go. 245 is too much. He hasn't really taken over games because he hasn't needed to. He definitely turns up a little bit more in the playoffs, but for this group stage, I think going with Sidewoo would just be a waste of money. I think Apex, Messi will probably be my two favorites. Just going with those two and hoping they get carried along as Vitality goes 3-0 and they're worth the price, and maybe they outperform someone like Flamesy or Robs in a couple of those games. If you want to take one of the gold players, I probably lean towards Robs just because has a little bit higher upside, and I think the opponents in this stage are good enough for him to, pop off, and Flamesy will be a little bit tougher for him to, go into on site and entry or hold on or like anchor a site. But yeah, I think for Vitality you have to go Apex and Messi, and then maybe you could throw in Robs in there. For Mouse, again, I would avoid searching 217. I think if you want to buy one of the gold players, you have to go with Torchy, and I think he's been the most consistent, and he's probably the best value other than Spanx. I think these two are for sure the best value, and if you go with a Mouse player, you have to go with one of these two. Brolin's fine at 183. Just gotta hope that he gets carried and he can put up at least a 1 rating on most maps. Jim had as well a 1206. I'll probably spend up a little bit more to get Jim Hat and then pairing him up with like a Torch or Spinks than going with Brolin. But I know money is going to be an issue in this stage because a lot of the higher end teams are more expensive. So you take your choice. For Spirit, I don't think you can go anyone but Donk here. At 240, he's a great price. I think this is a stage that's really gonna benefit him. He's gonna be able to play BO1s. The strategy might not be as coherent here, and he can just pop off and just take over a game like Puggy style, and that's where he kind of thrives in. So I think at 240, that's a great price for him. You definitely have to build a team around him, but if you can, then I think Dunk's a great value. Shiro's fine as well, 225, but he just doesn't have the upside that Dunk has, and I personally don't think he'll be one of the best value players. I think he in theory he will be, but I think Dunk can just take over a game and he just carry the team and take all the rating away from Shiro. I think if you want to spend less, Sontex is not bad at 210. I've been a big Sontex hater. I've been talking about, if they were going to replace someone Spirit, they should replace him over Magix, but he's been performing a lot better recently, so I got to give him props for that. Magix is just there for the vibes. Meanwhile, Suntec's there for the output. So we'll see if they do want to make a change there. I mean, someone like Tenier would be really great here in Spirit, but we'll talk about that more after the major. So Suntex is great value at 210. I would not go Chopper. He's just been putting up 0.8 ratings. Magic's is a little bit better at 199, but still probably not worth it. So for Spirit, I'd probably go with Donk. If you want to spend a little bit less, just go with Suntex. For Mongols, I think 910 is my favorite option. He's been kind of consistent, putting up like 1.1 rating, 1.08. And he's a lot cheaper than Senzu. I know Senzu's a group stage merchant, but I'd rather just go with 910 in that case. You could pair him up with Tegno, but he's not been great. But 184 is just not a lot of money there. If I were to spend up, I think I would go with Messinho over Blitz. Blitz hasn't really been performing too great recently, and meanwhile Messinho's turning up a little bit more, and he probably has a better roll and like headshot machine. That's probably a high trigger rate as well. For Aurora, I think if you wanted to go double up here, you have to go Centaurus as one of them. He's been turning up a lot more. We're starting to see his whole Centaurus back from the beginning of the year. He's a great option. I think between him and Wakiti, I'd rather go Centaurus. And then Voxy's not bad at 207. You just gotta be okay with him having off games, but then he can have the pop-off games. He's super hot and cold. Jota hasn't been that great recently, but 190 is not the worst. Major, if you want to double up, I think he's your best option alongside someone like Centaurus. For Navi, I don't have them going through, but I still think they have a great chance. Like, they have a great game against Nabinga. They could win that and farm a little bit there, or they could like get upset because Nabinga could just like play this like buggy style, and then Navi will not be ready like firepower wise. But if I were to go a Navi player, Alexi B at 182 is actually not bad. He's over the last month he's been one of the best performers. It hasn't been great, but for his price it's actually pretty good. He had over a 1 rating. If I were to pair him with someone else, it's probably Ime, because I just don't want to spend a lot on Navi, and he's been consistently mid, but it's okay. If you want to go upside, then definitely go with Bit or Jail. I'd probably skip on Wonderful. For G2, I personally wouldn't go here, but if you wanted to go, you probably have to go with someone like Hunter alongside someone like Malbs or Heavy God. Definitely not Snacks for sure, but a Hunter with a Malbs, that's a good combination. I think I'm not sure how good Hades has been recently, but I think any of these 4 are fine. Just pick your option, but I don't expect G2 to go through. Liquid, I think there's some great value here. Ultimate, I'll just skip on completely. He hasn't been good recently, and at 195, I'd rather just go and pay up for someone like Nerds. I think Twist is the best value in Liquid. And then if you have an extra 7k, I definitely upgrade over Shuhi over. I'll upgrade Shuhi to Naf, because Naf was starting to show some life. It wasn't great. I think he's putting up like a 0.96, but it's been better. And we know what the upside with Naf is. Hopefully he turns up here, because Liquid's gonna need him in order to make it to the next stage. But I believe in North America, and I think they'll be one of the teams. They'll be the only North American representative other than, Elite from FaZe. But yeah, I think if you wanted to go Liquid, Twist will probably be my favorite option, then Nerds, and then whatever budget you have left, either go Naf or Shuhi. For FaZe Clan, they should make it as well, or at least I hope they make it. But they look good. I think all 5 players are options, honestly. I would say that Simple's my least favorite, just because he while he's shown glimpses of, that old simple that can take over a game, his rating hasn't really matched up to it. I think he had like a 1.02 in the last month while playing with FaZe. So it hasn't been great for him. I mean, if you're going to pay up, you have to go with Frozen. He's been super consistent the whole year. He's been FaZe's best player even during this major as well. But honestly, the best value are probably Rain and Leech at 190 and 204. That'd probably be my favorite combo over someone like Frozen and Kerrigan. But I mean, Kerrigan's not bad at 178 if you want to save some money. Virtus Pro, they surprised us last stage. This stage, however, I just don't see them making it, especially with the quality of teams that are now here. They should be a lot better and should be able to match Virtus Pro's firepower, and they probably wouldn't surprise many people in BO1s. But if you want to go here, you have to go Flit, I believe, and then probably pair him up with one of Fame and Icy just because they're so cheap. Flamis has not really shown anything recently, but 174 is actually not bad, so definitely go with these four. I don't trust the form that I saw from Electronic in stage 1. Furia, another team that probably I have going through. It's just between them, Liquid, and Navi. But the pricing is great as well from them. Kisarado would be my favorite option at 201. I think he's gonna be carrying them if they are going to make it to the next stage. Jacinda really surprised me. He's been really good. I just don't think he'll be able to get away with a lot of things that he got away with in stage 1 and stage 2. So I'd rather go Yuri because at least he can pick up some of the kills. As he's not too aggressive. But honestly, take your choice. I think Jacinda has better roles, but Yuri probably has a better output for this stage, especially with tougher opposition. Molotov 2-3 is not bad either, but I'd rather just go with Casarado. And then Fallen's also pretty good at 176. He's been showing somewhat good enough form to be worth that price. For 3D Max, I know a couple people have them going through to the next stage. Personally, I don't, but if you wanted to pick some of these players, you can. I just don't think their HLTV rating is going to be too high if they do go through. Maka has been their best player at 194, but I believe if you want to go with the value, you have to go with Lucky. He's probably the best value. He's been their third best player, and at 178 is not too bad. If you were to pair him with someone else, it probably has to be Gravity. Just go with 2 cheapies and hope that they make it to the next stage. Legacy, I mean, what can I say? They showed us that they can make it here. I just don't expect them to do it again. And I expect them to probably go 0-3. So probably don't go anyone here. But again, they proved us wrong last stage and they were some of the best value players. So you can go ahead and pick them if you believe they will do good. Pain, don't expect them to advance, but players like Snow and Bigasera are not bad at those prices. If you want to spend up a little bit more, like Davideos, NQC, and GGT are not the worst either, but personally wouldn't go here. Lin Vision, again, wouldn't go here just because I don't expect them to make it to the next stage. And then Minga, 0-3, probably. So, I think after looking at all the prices and looking at what the most likely outcomes are, I don't think I want to play it safe here. I think I want to go for the top 1 percentile to get a team that can, be different enough than everyone. And then if it were to be different, then I'd probably gain a lot on the field, especially with that extra 50% on top of whatever points we get. So for that, I created this lineup. And this is a Donk lineup. I think Donk's probably going to be the best value in this in this stage. So I'm gonna go with him. And then I paired him up with a North American team and Liquid, North American in quotations, with NAF and Twist as my two options, and then a South American team, again in quotations, with Queserado and Fallen. I think this team is probably the best value team that we can make. Now, will they be the best? They have the best amount of points? Probably not, just because we don't expect Liquid to go 3-0. We don't expect Fury to go 3-0. But I think if these two teams advance, as in Liquid and Furia, they should have enough value to be worth it and to be able to be carried by Dunk. And even then, like, we're getting like 3 of the star rifles for 3 of the top teams that can make it to the next stage. I mean, Dunk is the star rifler for Spirit, Twist is star rifle for Liquid, and then Kisarada is star rifler for Furia. So they're gonna put up ratings, that's for sure. Are they gonna win enough games for them to be worth it? Who knows? We'll see. Some different options that I thought about as well is I definitely want Donk for sure, but I built a team with like FaZe Clan, so Rain and Leech up there, and I believe it was this team. So this is a little bit more safe, as I do think FaZe Clan are one of the teams to maybe go 3-1 in this stage. So Rain and Leech will be a little bit safer. They just don't have as much value as, you know, Queserado and like Fallen. And then you downgrade in Liquid as well. Like, you don't get Twist and NAF. You have to get Shuhei and Nerds. So it's not as good as the other team that I built, but it's not the worst either. If you want to go a little bit safer, definitely this team is the one for you, because Rain and Leech, they should put up good enough ratings, and FaZe should go through to the next stage. Some other ones as well. If you wanted to go, for example, something like this, so you want to spend up a little bit more on Furia, you can get Jaquina and Queserado, and then get Shuhei and Nerds. That's not bad. Or even Yuri as well. Like, if you believe in Furia more, and then Yuri and Queserado, then you can go with that as well. But then you have to get Shuhei. If we have to compare, I mean, Fallen versus Shuhei, I think Fallen has shown a little bit more form than Shuhei recently, so I'd rather go with Fallen in that case. And I think I like NAF more than Shuhei for Liquid. And then Queserado versus Twist, I'd rather go Queserado because it's a little bit cheaper. Nerds and Yuri and Jacinda, I'd rather go with Nerds. So it's like you can mix and match, basically. I mean, you don't even have to go with FaZe either. You can go with BP if you like, or even 3D Max, or even a Pain as well. Or if you could find like some cheaper players from like Navi as well, you could do Navi. I think my first original team had like Emin, Alexi, and Donk. And then you could probably get like a you could probably get something like this, honestly. Like, this is not a bad team. Let's see. Yeah, like you could get, like you could do a bunch of mixing and matching. I just think that with a Dunk build, you cannot go with like Vitality or Mouse or Spirit, and most likely probably not Mongoose or Aurora, because they'll just be too expensive. But yeah, this is gonna be my team. Let me know what you think of my team. Let me know your teams down below. And yeah, hopefully we see some good CS. I'm very excited about this stage, and you know, it's gonna be interesting. I think once Falcons went out, the probability of Vitality winning this major just went a lot higher. Falcons were the team that took Vitality to the edge and almost beating them and destroying the streak. So it's now up to Mouse and Spirit probably to be the teams to finally beat Vitality, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, good luck, have fun, and see you for the next time.